Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to the 10th edition of the Emerging India series presented by ICICI Bank and CNBC TV18, where we look at the contribution of the SME sector towards the Indian economy. Now, as a build-up to the Emerging India Awards, we're bringing on board some industry stalwarts and asking them to draw on their experience and expertise to discuss some issues faced by SMEs. On this episode, we're looking at how technology can be a growth catalyst for SMEs in India.
Technology plays a very critical role in today's economic landscape. The integration of social media, mobile devices, analysis of data collected and cloud computing, a stack collectively referred to as SMAC technology, is changing the way businesses reach out to more customers, analyze consumer habits, curtail their costs and increase their profit margins. In this rapidly changing technological environment, it has become imperative for SMEs to stay ahead of the game and constantly readapt to successfully enhance their productivity and stay competitive and relevant. One of the key drivers escalating adoption of technologies like SMAC is the aggressive adoption of smart devices in both urban and rural areas, which has led to an increase in social media consumption and the volumes of data available across sectors for businesses to analyze.
This week on the Emerging India series, we bring on board Karan, the Managing Director of Microsoft India, who talks to us about the changing dynamics of business today and how technology can be a growth catalyst.
Technological innovation has always been at the core of technology giant Microsoft India, with a vision to empower every individual and business to achieve more in a mobile-first, cloud-first world. Transforming itself from a software firm to a devices and services company, Microsoft is empowering different business sectors and government bodies to develop and share ideas, find solutions, and innovate faster and more efficiently.
If you see all disruptions today are technology-led. Look at the banking space, look at the e-commerce space, the retail space, look at the cab companies. And our job today is to empower every individual and organization on the planet to achieve more in a cloud-first, mobile-first world. And we are making this come alive through our three bold visions that we have set for ourselves as a company, which is enable people to have more personal computing, reinvent business productivity and business processes, and build the intelligent cloud.
Speaking to us this week about the issues faced by SMEs in the adoption of technology is Kavish Gupta, Director Operations at Spun Pipes Private Limited.
Spun Pipes is India's largest precast concrete solutions provider for the infrastructure industry. In the last 5 years, the company has expanded to over 10 states with 12 units spread across the country.
It started off as a spun pipe unit, which is a very traditional way of making pipes about 35 years ago. And then 8 years ago, the company decided to change the complete technology into a vertical cast dry cast method, where you can make from one shuttering multiple output. So it reduces your labor cost, and that really helped the company in expanding. And the main project was the Indira Gandhi Airport, where we could project this technology, as the project required a lot of pipes which complete NCR pipe manufacturing units couldn't supply, and this technology really helped them to fulfill the project in time and complete the project in time. So after we completed this project, there were a lot of wastewater projects that come out under the GNN URN scheme, and that really helped us in expanding all over India. And in the process, we launched a lot of new products such as HDP line RCC pipes, which increases the life of the pipe by 80 years. Then micro tunneling pipes, pressure pipes, irrigation pipes, which is up to 2600 dia, which no other company has done it so far.
Spun Pipes last year clocked around 200 crores and is looking at a 300 crore turnover this year.
Well, technology has really helped us when we multiplied into 10 units. Our software couldn't take it. Hence, we really had to enter ERP kind of systems. So it really helped us in maintaining our data and systems online to expand so exponentially and still maintain all our processes and times.
Some of the biggest concerns that SMEs, especially in the infrastructure sector, have when it comes to adopting new technology is the lack of understanding what technology has to offer and how it can be institutionalized into their business.
we have a lot of interaction with the government officials and the designer side, which is our stakeholders in the projects. So SMAC technology can help us if we can get our solutions directly on laptop or mobile there itself, create an office atmosphere at site to market our solutions directly to them. I think that could be a great enabler in getting more value to the customer as well as to us.
With a lack of skilled manpower available to manage technology setups and an inherent resistance to the initial startup costs required to implement this technology, SMEs continue to remain hesitant in readapting.
It's time for a short break. On the other side, I'm in conversation with Karan, Bajwa, the Managing Director of Microsoft India, who talks to us about how technology can be a growth catalyst for SMEs. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Emerging India series, and I'm now in conversation with Karan Bajwa, who's the Managing Director of Microsoft India. Karan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about digitization. You know, when you say digitization, definitely the government is making a great initiative with Digital India. Everyone's talking about it, and it's spreading all across the country. And definitely SMEs are big beneficiaries out of this. But generally SMEs are a bit concerned about adopting technology. What's your thought on that?
Let me address the second part first, which is SMEs adopting technology. What have been the reasons SMEs have been fearful of technology, if you will? You know, India is a very interesting pyramid, if you see, of technology usage. The top end of the pyramid looks like any developed country. The IT companies that we have, the banks we have, are like any other developed country. But as you go down the pyramid, the story changes very radically. And if you look back on what have been the reasons, I believe the reasons have been one. Cost is clearly one. Okay, cost, upfront cost of embracing technology. You use a scarce resource called capital to deploy technology, or do you just grow your business in the traditional form? That's the question a lot of people have.
Yeah.
The second one in my mind is the complexity of deploying technology. Assume in the old world, an SME had to deploy technology. You got to go first source hardware. You got to find the right software. You got to find the right integrator who can integrate for you. You need the right people inside your organization who can support it on an ongoing basis, or you need somebody to support it. And as you go down to the bottom of the pyramid, you don't get skills. You don't get the large IT companies addressing that market space. So it has been complex for a SME to consume IT. What is changing today is the consumption model, and I think we'll talk more about it.
Yes.
Coming back to Digital India, what ultimately is Digital India? The government's vision is to enable every individual to interact between themselves and with the government in a digital fashion. So I guess both the Digital India vision as well as the technology innovation that is happening today in the country allows for both these things for SMEs to now look at technology in a very different way.
So with technology now being ubiquitous, it is also providing SMEs with much more business opportunities. There are businesses, there are niches that they've started setting up businesses in, which earlier weren't even there. Do you see this again as an enabler for entrepreneurship and business growth in this country of ours?
Sure. Let's look at what technology would do to an SME. Efficient processes, stuff that used to take them time can be done more efficiently. What does that give you? Give you back time to do something else, which could be more customer focused. So you could actually be more efficient from a business process standpoint. But more than that, it is outreach to the marketplace. If I am an SME sitting in a part of Delhi and my addressable market is what I can see in and around Delhi, suddenly the whole world opens up for me. So addressability of market space, putting technology in the hands of their front-end users and interacting with their customers in more ways than one, virtually instead of physically, opens up a whole new market space. The time that you get from saving business processes, time off business processes, gives you time to go out. So I guess technology absolutely for an SME is a no-brainer to use today. And as I said, it is becoming easier for them to use it now.
And what about SMAC? So we hear the lovely word SMAC. It confuses most people. So it's social, mobile, analytics, and cloud, and analytics, big data. There's a lot of chatter about that. Now there's this SME just doing his business, day-to-day work, and you hear these heavy terms, and that confuses them. How can you make that simple for them, and how can they make use that for their benefit?
Sure. In a country like India with over 1 billion people, data is there everywhere. What do you do with that data? I'll give you 2 or 3 examples of how we're bringing it alive, and that will make it real for you. The government of Andhra Pradesh had a real challenge of school dropouts. Okay, now how do you address school dropouts? you have all the data that exists in different schools. We've created, through Azure Machine Learning, Azure's our cloud product, through Azure Machine Learning, a solution for them which is right now being proof of concepted, where we've created about 100 proof points around each individual. That is data that tells us how this individual is going to behave in terms of carrying forward the education. Will this person drop out or not? Through these interventions and putting machine learning on top, we can actually predict with a fair amount of certainty on if this individual will drop out of school. And that is being used, that modeling is being used by the government now, and we will do it on scale to predict school dropouts and implement fixes at a local level.
Cloud computing and Microsoft is very strong in that, and that's definitely helping SMEs because it helps them cut their costs. And I believe Microsoft had this initiative called the trade-in scheme, I believe sometime in March that came up. So if you could shed some light on that, and also about how, in your experience, and you're there in the market, you're watching SMEs use cloud. How is this benefiting them?
So a few things, Amit. First of all, let me say very clearly that the cloud is for real now. It's no longer incubation. It's a scale technology. Even as we speak today, we on our productivity platform, which is Office 365, have over 2 million users on the public cloud in India. So cloud scale. And interesting piece is how are different parts of the market reacting to the cloud. Interesting for us to see is how has our customer acquisition changed over the last 2 years. And if I just look back at data internally for Microsoft, our customer acquisition has gone 2x in the last 2 years. And the reason primarily is customers are moving to the cloud. Customers who did not traditionally use technology now see this innovation. And in a country like India, I believe I saw this innovation happen 20 years ago when the mobile technology came. Why did mobile become successful in India? We had no legacy. We had literally no legacy, or very poor legacy. And hence we didn't have to break something to make something. This time around, the same thing. SMEs, at the bottom of the pyramid, use technology in a very minimalist way for reasons I explained to you. Cost, availability of skills, complex integration. Today now have an ability to use technology in a model which is much more faster. Cheaper is another one. Cheaper, well, I got to be careful when I say cheaper. It's about the color of money, right? You're using in the traditional world, you're using your scarce resource, which is money, which an SMB wants to use to grow their business. You're going to now use it to keep investing on your business. The cost issue, from CapEx to OpEx. So you're not using your CapEx to buy IT, using really OpEx on an ongoing basis. The second thing is, what worries you is, hey, I'm going to invest once. How about obsolescence? You know, technology does get obsolete. Gone are the days where we could support stuff for 10 years. It really changes very fast. So I guess both those questions get addressed with the use of cloud, where you literally consume off, so you bind through OpEx, and innovation and technology upgrades are really happening at the back end. You're not really concerned. Nothing really impacts how you use it. So those two concerns. Talking about Indian companies and SMEs, you said second, third generation. I'm actually very surprised how people are opening up. As enough proof points get established in the market that technology is changing businesses and increasing the marketplaces for people.
On that note, it's time for a short break. On the other side, we have Kavish Gupta, Director Operations from Spun Pipes Private Limited, joining Karan and me. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Emerging India series. I'm now in conversation with Karan Bajwa, Managing Director of Microsoft India, and we're joined by Kavish Gupta, Director Operations at Spun Private Limited. Welcome to the show. Karan, before Kavish starts putting forward his questions, is there something that you want to talk to him about before he starts questioning?
I think it's great to connect with you, and I'd love to know more about how your business is doing, and especially about how you're using technology to drive innovation in your organization, some of the challenges you're facing. I'd love to address anything else that you have.
Right, so technology has helped us in the expansion quite a lot, because we are in the infra space and our locations are very remote. Hence technology has helped us gather data on a remote basis and also interpret analysis of all the big data.
Since you have started enabling and started using technology, any hurdles that you're facing currently?
I think one of the biggest challenges was the human resource setup. When we first started changing from a very account-based model to an enterprise model, there was a challenge from the human resource side. We didn't have the human resource and who could adopt to a new technology, and there was a lot of resistance towards that side.
Sure, sure. That's an interesting one. And I see that across almost all organizations. In fact, the biggest organizations have gone through this transition of getting their people to adopt technology. But as you come to SMEs, my learning has been that the biggest challenge for an SME is getting people when you deploy technology. Go back many years when you had to deploy technology. You mentioned about some of the things you were doing in terms of your ERP. You literally had to look at buying hardware and software and getting an integrator, putting all these things together, training in-house staff to support it, drive it, run it. I guess the biggest advantage today that exists for you is the innovation that the cloud brings to you. Your ability to use services off the cloud without having to worry about deploying hardware, not worrying about technology obsolescence. That's a very big challenge for an SME. The other one that I would sort of, point out to you is scale. When you are building a solution, how much do you build it for? How much scale do you build it for? Whether it's number of transactions, number of people that will use it. And you could go radically wrong on either side. You could either over-engineer, in which case it is cost, or you could under-engineer, in which case it is not scalable. And in both those situations, you are stuck. Whereas in the cloud today, deploying services off the cloud, especially the public cloud, in a SaaS-based model allows you to scale up and scale down based on your requirements, literally on the fly. I would really encourage you, Kavish, to look at all models of technology usage in a model which you use off the cloud, in a model that you don't use your capital. You are an infra company. Capital is important for you guys. I'm sure you would rather deploy in your business and you can drive through OpEx. So those would be a couple of things I would say to address the people challenge.
What's the time implementation? Because this is another concern that Kavish had.
The question is really, what would you do if you had infinite compute capability on your disposal on the fly?
I would say, like, how would infra companies leverage such a technology when everything is so much tender based in the infra, and all the infra utilities are government controlled?
Sure.
So how do you harness this, an SME from an infra based company harness this technology to get to government, or say small government organizations like panchayats,
Sure.
rather than big infra projects, to get their solutions out? Like,
Sure.
what will be the way to do that?
A very, very valid question and a very valid concern for you, especially as an SME. And I look at technology adoption and SME in many ways. There is the customer interaction and how you enrich that interaction. And I'll talk about, in your case, how you could do that. But there is also the efficiency of the business process, how you run your processes. If you can drive efficiency, it cuts down cost, but more importantly, cuts down time for you, which is value for you. Time is money for you guys. But let's look at the customer interaction. Now, the quality of your salesperson is something it's tough to control when you especially go on scale. And you spoke about your business being in far-flung areas as well. How do you ensure that the quality of your customer interaction can be the same in a tier 3 city as it is in the heart of Delhi? And technology allows you to do that. How you put technology in the hands of your frontline sellers and enable them with whether it's the conversation in a tender is or speeds and feeds or specifications of the pipes that you build. Ultimately, if you provide that power in the hands of your seller, when he's having that interaction and he can show and tell, that's a very simple way of doing it. That is one way to take away the barrier from a skill set standpoint. That's one. But again, as I said, it's about efficiency of your own business processes, right? Today, I'm not sure how many IT staff do you have, and I would not sort of like to say that you should fire them all, but be careful on that. But again, I guess, you are an infra company. What would you focus on? You would want to focus on your business rather than have to worry about technology running. So those would be ways. So efficiency of the business process, efficiency of the customer interaction, customer outreach, your ability to now reach your customers. And I remember talking to you earlier, and you said, yes, today your customers don't interact with you in the social space. True. But this was true for many companies 5 years ago that are now is hugely using social. So I think as customers adopt technology, you will adopt technology. The opportunity for you is to lead a transition, I would say.
One more thing is how to get financial independence and risk mitigation while you're adopting a new technology. And also, a lot of SMEs, when they're starting new, they require a mentor who can analyze their field.
Sure.
And I think SMEs market a very niche solutions in different markets. So how do you get a mentor to analyze that? And at the same time, when you're implementing a new technology, how do you be financially independent on the basis of the revenue stream a particular SME is getting.
Sure. Interesting question. You know, one, of course, I'm sitting right in front of you, so I'm available to you as a mentor. I understand the genesis of where this question comes from in your mind. In today's world, you got to learn to move fast, learn to fail fast, and keep learning. I think the fear of using something and not using it because of that fear is also a lost opportunity in many cases. So I would say, as a businessman, you need to analyze the cost of that failure for your business. Is it going to really hit your business, or is it a failure you can adopt? And I would say you should be fearless in terms of what you try, and then learn from those failures and move on.
All right, well, that's about all the time that we have. Thank you so much, Karan, for being on the show. Thank you, Kavish, for being here with us. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope that we've been able to give you some more insight on how technology can work as a growth catalyst for SMEs. Stay tuned to the series, as next time we will have another industry stalwart mentoring a promising SME. Until next time, from the entire team, many thanks for watching.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.